All right, my beautiful people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here today on New Black Wall Street book, New Black Wall Street. I'm your boy ERGJ, man. Today we're gonna do something a little different because I got a day of freedom to be able to speak to you guys this morning. So I wanted to come and share, I guess, a teach me how to profit training, which I normally do for the Black Billionaires Club, but this will be something for the public. I figured I'd talk about the history of the book that we'll be going through next week on New Black Wall Street Book Club, which is the Black Billionaires Club. So thanks so much for joining us. Go ahead and hit that like button, that share button, let people know that we're here. As you guys are connecting, let us know where you are connecting from as well. One comment here. And while you guys are doing that, good morning to Miss Vivian. Let me go ahead and also hit this good old share button as well, and we'll do that as well. So good morning to you, by the way. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the New Black Wall Street. I'll just be sharing some things with you guys today, talking about my journey, how we got to this place with the book, and how we got here, and also how we were able to sell 600 copies of the book before we actually wrote it. So let me hit this share button and we'll get this thing crack-a-lacking, man. Yeah, I hit it there. Oh, I hit it there as well. Yep. Good morning to you. Yep. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining. And then I'll hit this thing here as well. We'll go there. Yep. Good morning to YouTube and also Facebook Live. Let's see who might be here on YouTube as well. Good morning to you. What's going on, Miss Flowers? How are you? Thanks so much for joining. Fantastic, man. Ready to rock and roll this morning. Get this thing one other place, and then we'll be ready to go. Man, it's New Black Wall Street, man. I'm your boy, ERGJ. You know what time it is? Time to get this show on the road. DJ. Oh, we got some new music. Oh, we got to go back to the oldie but goodie. Hit the music.
The New Black Wall Street. Do it right, build wealth, live life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the New Black Wall Street. It's on the New Black Wall Street. He's your host.
All right, my beautiful people, man. Thanks so much for joining us here on this fantastic Friday. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, also ERGJ Black Bazaar. And today I have a little special time for you, man. It's going to be a Teach Me How to Profit training. Actually, how I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how I was able to sell 600 copies of my book before I actually wrote the book. And so I've shared this before with the children. Now I want to share it with the adults a little bit, just to kind of, I don't know, share with you a little bit different way of thinking, I guess, because many of us probably think that we actually have to have a book in order to sell it. And there's some philosophies or some understanding that goes into this. It's either you buy to sell or you sell to buy. And most people understand buy to sell, right? You got to buy something, you got to have something, you got to have in the stock, and then you can actually sell it after people see it and they can buy it, right? Well, that's buying to sell. Well, this is actually going to be a process of selling to buy. A little bit off the wall, a little bit different, but people use this strategy in order to build wealth for themselves. And so I want to share with you a little bit about my journey into becoming a published author, now international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. This book is in about 7 countries now. Obviously, United States is one. France is another. China, New Zealand. I've sent this book to Germany. And then also Ghana, a couple countries in Africa, and Nigeria, and Ethiopia. So maybe that's 8. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, well, how in the world does a book go that far without Amazon, without eBay, just off of my own efforts in marketing to be able to do that? But then also, well, how in the world was I able to afford to be able to publish this book? And I'll talk to you guys about that today. And so one of the things I will let you know is, as you guys are joining, is that there's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit about marketing, actually building your own e-commerce store. That's going to be the link that we placed up in above. We've got a class next Tuesday. I'll be teaching on how to do that. So if you don't have an online presence or you want something simpler, you can obviously check out my websites and see if that's something that you want to build, something like that, so that you can begin to sell your wares, sell your stuff online all over the world. Well, we will be teaching that next Tuesday, so you can join us for the e-commerce class next Tuesday. Just click on the link that's pinned in YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, on Facebook if you're there, and we'll make sure that you are acclimated to go in that class. I also post this on our YouTube feed. Good morning to you, Mr. Mark Gaines. And so next week we will be continuing or starting on this book. So if you don't have this book, you can go to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up the book today. This will be part of our study for the next 2 weeks, I guess, as we learn from billionaires, right? But today I want to talk to you a little bit about how this book came about and the history of it, kind of what inspired me to write and all that stuff, and then answer any questions that you might have here on Fantastic Friday. And so, as you guys may know, I am a certified financial educator, and I study money. That's one thing that I do. And so every year, the Forbes list comes out, and that's a list of the richest people in the world, right? The Warren Buffetts, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Steve Jobs when he was alive, Bill Gates. So it's a list of the wealthiest people in the world. And so in 2017, when this list came out at the beginning of the year, something clicked for me. I was like, oh, well, I see all these rich people, but then I started to wonder, well, where the black folk at? Because you didn't see any black folk in that top 10, top 50, top 100. And so that made me kind of think about, man, well, who are the rich black people? Who are the black billionaires? Well, at the time, it was who are the rich black people? And so I began to do a little study on it, and I found that there were only 12 of them that were billionaires. I said, well, 12, we could put something together for 12. And then as I was doing that, I started to think, well, I started to look to see, well, had anybody written about these 12 individuals who in 2017 were the only 12 that were black that were billionaires. And then I saw that there wasn't a book out. I saw, and then it spoke to me and said, well, maybe you need to write this book. And so for me, I had always wanted to be an author. I always wanted to write something, but I just never knew exactly what. I mean, I guess I could have wrote about myself. I could have wrote about my story, which I may do in the future. I still think I need to accomplish more, and maybe, people need to know more about me before I write my story. But that was a story I felt needed to be written, needed to be read, needed to be seen, needed to come out. And so I said, well, I guess I'll write the book. So I began to do a little research and compile some ideas, some resources, things like that to be able to write the book. And then now we have to get to kind of what's really important to me, because it's not just for all the aspiring authors that are out there. It's one thing to write a book. It's another thing to actually sell a book, and it's another thing to actually make some money from the book. I want you guys to understand that there are plenty of people who could be best-selling authors or, Amazon's best-selling list, quote unquote, but they can still be broke. They can still not have really sold a whole bunch of books that puts them into a place where they have cash flow. So it's a little bit misleading when you're seeing stuff that says best-selling or something like that. One of the things you might want to ask, well, how many copies have you sold? See, when you start getting to how many versus best-selling, man, that changes the conversation. Most people don't want to tell you how many they sold. It might be 100. It might be 500. They might have sold 300 the first week, and that made them the best-selling of that week. But then the sales stopped. So it's a little misleading when you hear best-selling on Amazon's bestseller list. Well, what does that really mean? What's that number? How many do you need to? What's the criteria to be a bestseller? So I always look at, well, how many have you sold, and the length of time in which it took you to sell them, right? So if I sold 600 books, but it took me 6 years to do it, it's a little bit different than selling 600 books in 1 year. And it's a little bit different of cash flow in 1 year versus 6 years. So this stuff can be a little bit misleading. A lot of people want to write books, but as you may know, a lot of people don't sell books. And so I started thinking about, well, if I write this book, well, how am I going to sell it? How am I going to make money from it? How am I going to have the biggest impact from this book, not just from writing it, but from people actually buying it and reading it? And here's what I understand as well. There's a slew of people who, won't even buy a book. Then there's another crowd of people who will buy a book but never read it. Think about that for a second. How many books do you have right now in your library that you bought, but you still have not read? You're going to get around to it, right? And so then I started thinking about, I said, okay, well, we got people that won't buy a book. We got people who may buy a book, but don't read it. And then you have the people that actually might read the books that they buy. Now, I'm guilty of it as well. I got a lot of books that's on the bookshelf that I just simply have not read yet. But at least they're in my bookshelf. So my goal was to have my book in their bookshelf, not to have it on. This is just talking about. I'm just talking about what I was thinking about. I don't want to be a book that was just on your Kindle or in your file or your ebook. I don't even have an ebook, by the way. I have a book because as I thought about the impact that I wanted to make with the book that I wrote, I wanted to be something that was generational, something that could be passed down, something that 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, people can look back in 2017 and say, man, this brother wrote a book to remind us of how wonderful, powerful, how wealthy we can be if we just simply work at it. And so that was my whole premise going into writing the book. Now, I also understood that in sales, when it comes to marketing, we now needed to create a campaign. Everybody put in console campaign. See, this is what a lot of authors don't understand. Again, you wrote the book, yes, but now you need to sell the book. But many authors simply don't have a campaign on marketing and selling the book that they wrote. Now they think, okay, well, if I put the book on Amazon, I put it on Barnes and Nobles, that's a campaign. No, that's just you putting the book on the shelf. And how many guys know that there are plenty of books that are on shelves that no one buys? Matter of fact, I started to think like this. I said, well, what compels people to buy a book, right? If you were to go to Barnes and Nobles right now, or you were to go to the library or wherever it is that you might buy books, what compels you to actually pick up a book and possibly buy it? First, you got to pick it up. First, you got to notice it. Then you got to be compelled enough by what you noticed to then go pick it up. And then after you pick it up, you might read the back cover. And then you might decide, I want to buy this book because I want to read the rest of it, right? So those are 4 components that I just talked about. First, you got to notice it. Then you got to go pick it up, right? Then you probably read a summary or a back cover or a review, depending on where you got it from. And then you might actually buy the book. Is that about the same process? Am I the only one that goes through that process when it comes to buying a book? You know, and so if you guys go through that same process, that's what the process I go through. I got to notice it first. There's a lot of books I never noticed, right? I got to be interested in it. Then I got to pick it up. I actually got to physically go and pick it up or pop it up on my screen or whatever. And then I read the back cover to see what the summary, see what it's about. Make sure ain't nothing crazy. Then I might decide I buy the book. So in this process, I said, well, what is it that will get people to even notice a book? Out of all the hundreds of thousands of books that are on the shelf, what causes people to notice certain books over other books? That's my question for you today, especially if you're an aspiring author. What causes people to notice certain books over other books? I mean, if you just see they all lined up, they all inserted into the shelf. Well, what causes you to notice one book out of all the other 30, 50, 100 books in that same category? What causes you to notice that book? Anybody? What causes you to notice a book over others? Right? Vivian said the cover. Yes, that's one part of it, right? The cover. I mean, the cover means a lot, right? And I noticed Vivian said you said the cover. The cover caused you to notice the book, right? So the cover is so important to the visual appeal. It's almost like it's the appeal of that book, right? And you got to notice it. If you don't notice it, you probably won't pick it up, right? So the cover has a lot to do with it. Yasmin said the texture. Well, when you say the texture, that's interesting. I guess that means after you pick it up, you'll notice. You won't notice texture when you're looking at it, will you? I don't know if you can notice texture when you're looking at it, when you first see it, but maybe. I guess you can see if it's a little sandy or a little rough or smooth, or I guess you can see that. Color, right? Black or white or color. Are you going to notice black or white before you notice color? Then it be in color? Probably needs to be in color, right? What are you going to notice about books? What are people see? I think when you start thinking about other people, when it comes to your ability to sell, you actually might sell more. And I think too often we think of ourselves instead of other people. So we getting some good stuff. So we got cover. She said texture. I think you'll notice that when you pick it up. Color, right? And what else? What else do you notice? Out of all the books, just imagine you in a library or wherever it is, Amazon, it don't matter, and you're seeing all these books. What caused you to notice some book over another? Right? Because I didn't want to just write a book just for no one to buy it. That would be crazy. I wanted to buy a book that plenty of people would buy. So cover, obviously, I think is one of the top answers. You gotta have a nice cover. I mean, it's got to be designed well. It's got to look well. It's got to have eye-catching colors. It's got to be, it can't be too loud. It can't be, it's got to have. You gotta develop or create a nice cover. Well, the other thing that I found to be true as well is you got to have a catchy title. Right? Napoleon Hill, when he wrote Think and Grow Rich, he talked about how he spent nights trying to think about the right title. He had plenty of titles for that book. And then, matter of fact, because when he was up against the grain, he finally came up with a proper title, which he says came from his subconscious. So the title of the book means a lot as well. And I'm telling you, when I wrote this book, well, I'm talking about before I wrote, before I even wrote the book, I kept thinking about cover and title. Cover and title. Okay, what can I do to make this book look appealing? Right? Look appealing. Make people even want to pick it up. And when you got people like Oprah Winfrey on the front of your cover, or Michael Jordan on the front of your cover, or whoever these other people are, most people don't know, there might be something that might capture people's attention, right? And then the title, right? You got titles like Think and Grow Rich. So that's $1 million title, right? If you have a $2 title on top of $1 million book, guess how much money you probably gonna make? $2. The title is so important. So I spent a lot of my nights before I ever wrote the book on cover and title. And then what happened for me is I then began to work on the cover. I got an illustrator that I trusted, and I told him my concept of what I come up with. And at the time, I had already gotten to like digital art. So I told him, I said, well, man, we got 12 of them. Let's put all 12 of them on the front some way, somehow. And let's take pictures of them, and let's do digital what we have done in the past. So I just kind of took what I had already been doing, and then we came up with the title. And I said, well, we gotta have a nice color scheme. And these are what illustrators, this is what graphic designers should be good at. I say I'm not the creative person when it comes to design. That's not me, right? I'm good with numbers. So I leaned on someone else to design for me. I'm telling you, some of y'all are gonna try to design your own cover, and you're not really good with design, but you're gonna try to save some money here or there. And you're gonna find out, man, I just should have spent a little bit of extra money leaning on someone else's expertise in order for me to have the kind of art, the kind of project completion that I want, whether it's a book or not. It could be anything, right? Good morning, man. Those books cover design first and sign secondary. Now I'm ready for you to download. I know, right? So that's what I did, right? So I said, man, I worked on this cover. An illustrator could be anyone, Yasmin. She said, how do I find an illustrator? A graphic designer could be an illustrator. Anybody that you have seen create designs can be an illustrator. Doesn't necessarily have to be a quote unquote illustrator. But they're easy to find. They're kind of easy to find. So, and matter of fact, my illustrator wasn't an illustrator. My illustrator was just an artist. And because I liked his artwork, I asked him if he could create a few of my designs. Now, if you're doing a full blown out illustrated book, which would be more expensive, you want all of your pages, you're doing like a children's book or something like that, you really need an illustrator. But if you just need a couple pictures that's going to be in color or whatever, then you don't really need an illustrator. You just need someone that can draw, someone that can design, someone that's good with graphics. So anyway, So so as my book was being finished, as far as the cover was concerned, then now I was still thinking about the title. You know, I had the 12 Black Billionaires. I had I don't know, I came up with a couple different titles, but none of them were like spot on. It was like, man, that ain't right. I ain't not quite there yet. I'm still trying to figure out the title to the book. So eventually it came to me and said, man, instead of the 12 Black Billionaires or the Black Dozen and all this stuff, I came up with some crazy name. I finally landed on the Black Billionaires Club because it actually is an exclusive club of 12 people that are billionaires that happen to be Black. So now I had the cover and the title, which to me are the two most important components to selling a book, right? Now, some of you guys might say, man, the content is so important. Well, I don't think so. The content is relevant. The content is important, but I don't think it's the most important because then no one can ever get to the content of your book until they get past the cover and the title of your book. If your cover and your title does not speak to them in order for them to open it up, they'll never get the content. You know, there's plenty of books that are out there right now that's filled with excellent content. I mean, that content can probably take you to the stratosphere, take you to the moon. How many guys ever read a boring book like a textbook? A textbook has excellent content. It can teach you a whole bunch of stuff, that textbook. But how many guys are really run out there and buy that textbook? No, you're not. Because it's got great content, but it's not visually appealing. It's not something you really want to read, right? So don't get, I want you to understand, for me, as far as selling the book, not necessarily writing it, but selling the book, it's not always about the content. I was able to sell my book off of cover and title alone and the idea of what the content would be. So now I had my cover and my title, and I was like, yes, let's start writing the book. But then I reached out to a friend of mine and said, man, you got the cover and your title? Man, put the book out there. I was like, well, what do you mean? I ain't wrote the book yet. He said, well, just put the book out there. And so what we did was we created a campaign, which was a pre-order campaign. So we allowed people to pre-order, everybody put in console pre-order. We allowed people to pre-order the book. We set a date out for, I think it was at the time, 2 months when the book would be released. I hadn't written a book yet. I hadn't even wrote, I hadn't wrote nothing yet. But I'm glad I put the date on it because that pushed me. You know, how many guys, when you put a date on something, they kind of push you to finish? Like, you're like, oh, I got to get this thing finished. And then I realized, okay, well, not only do I got to get it finished, but I got to have time to get it edited. I got to have time to get it published. And so we put it out for pre-order. We say, okay, this book will be done, be ready to release. Of course, we didn't tell it be done. So be ready to release on this date. And if you pre-order, you get it for less, right? They can get it for $20 versus now it's 25. And then we also gave them an offer. This is called a campaign, which many authors simply don't know how to do. A campaign for their book. So notice I said that, okay, I answered that for you, Christy. Notice I said that I did a campaign, a pre-order campaign, and I had an offer, right? Everybody put in console offer. An offer. So what would the offer means? It's going to be something that would entice someone to go ahead and make a buying decision and get something free while they wait, right? Now, me, I'm a certified financial educator. So one thing that I offer was a class. I've done plenty of classes that's just on record that people can click on and watch or participate in. So at the time there were two. At the time when I started, there was one class that was more important to me that I wanted to release. That was actually how to buy your first stock. So I had an offer of, well, if you buy this book for $20, you're going to get this class, which I did at the time when I did the class. It was a $50 class, maybe a $75 class. I'll give you this class for free on how to buy your first stock. Now, does this make sense, right? You say, well, it's a book on billionaires. Billionaires invest. Not only are you going to get a book to learn what the billionaires have done, but you're also going to get a class so you can take the first step to do what billionaires do. Does that make sense? So the offer made sense to go with the book that I used in my pre-order campaign that got people to buy today. Because while they were waiting on the book, they could be taking the class. While they were waiting on the book, they could actually own their first stock. And many Black folk just don't know how to buy stock. So I made an offer. I had an offer within my campaign which made sense to people to take advantage of right now, so they could then, wait on the book to be released. Again, I'm talking to things about, good morning to you, Nelson. I'm talking to you about things that authors simply don't think about when it comes to not just writing the book, selling the book, right? Putting your book on Amazon does not mean it's going to sell. Putting your book on a Barnes & Noble does not mean it's going to sell. Putting your book in all these different marketplaces does not mean it's going to sell. I was able to sell my book without Amazon, without eBay, without Barnes & Noble, because I knew I couldn't rely on them to market my book the way my book should be marketed. Does that make sense? Right? So Steve asked over her YouTube Live, how long did, it only took me about a week to write my book. The reason it took me a week to write my book is because I already knew what I was going to write about. I had already had the resources that I was going to use in order to write the book. It's just a matter of me sitting down, removing the distractions, and writing the book. It took me longer to revise the book than it did for me to write the book, because now you're in revise mode. You got to format. You got to make sure that grammar is right. You got to make sure structure is right. So it took longer to revise it than it did for me to write it. Because once I'm going into it, I already knew this is what I'm gonna write about. This is how I'm going to this is how I'm gonna structure the book. So I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do when I got into writing mode. Y'all said, do you own your own editing? Did I do my own editing? Did your education prepare you for writing the content? I did not do my own editing. I don't advise you to do your own editing. I wouldn't advise that, because I would advise you get another set of eyes on your book, because I would be biased. I'm going to think that it looks good. I'm going to think that it is written well. So I would advise getting another set of eyes, getting a professional editor. The editing is so important, because for you to put a book out that has grammatical errors, spelling errors, it just makes you look incompetent as an individual, as an author. So I don't advise, edit. Matter of fact, I had it edited, then I edited myself. Like, I edited what they edited, because they still miss some stuff. And stuff will be missed. That's why you have revisions. You have a revised version, a version 1, a version 2, stuff like that. Did my education prepare me for writing the content? No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I have English class. I've got grammar and spelling, 7th grade. So I guess it prepared me to write the content, but it was just a matter of something I wanted to write and something I was willing to research to find out about in order to write that book, right? Mardane said, was that more pressure to deliver? Was that more pressure? Yes. Well, I don't know. Mark Danes asked, was that more pressure to deliver great content? I don't know if it's necessarily to deliver great content. It was the pressure to deliver, period. I kind of had an idea in the writing phase, or the idea phase, that was going to be great content. But the pressure to deliver, yes. Because once I told people that were now buying the book that it'll be out by such and such time, there was pressure there. And I still hadn't wrote anything. I still had, you still got to carve out time. You still have to, make a way. And so I hadn't done that just yet. So there was pressure to deliver. And I don't know about you, but I'm the guy that waits until the last minute. That's when the greatest work comes out of me, when there's really, really pressure. And my editor or kept calling me like, hey, where's the book? Where's the book? And I was like, I ain't wrote it yet. So I definitely had some pressure to deliver. The content, I think, was going to be great regardless, but the pressure to deliver is really what made a difference. So now, what we were able to do was we were able to put that pre-order campaign out for a book again that I hadn't written. All I had was a cover and a title. People were, I believe, people liked what they saw as far as the cover and the title, and they liked the offer, and they invested that $20, right? So they were able to get a book, a signed copy of a book, plus a free class to teach them on how to buy stock. And all they had to do was wait for a month in order for a month or 2 months in order to get their book. And so I was able to use that pre-order campaign to sell 600 copies of my book. And that was before I actually wrote it. And if you think about it, you say, well, $600, 600 copies, you multiply that times 12, that kind of gives you an idea of the capital I was able to raise simply from a campaign. You know what I'm saying? You take that 600, you can think of, I mean, times what, 20 copies? That's $12,000. You can think about the capital I was able to raise simply from a campaign, and which was able to finance the completion of the project. Now, this is not anything new, right? You've seen this before, more than likely. You've seen it done with movies, right? A movie, they say, hey, you know, I think the Generation 1 movie, hey, you know, pre-order your copy today. They ain't done that movie yet. They're pre-ordering because they need to get the money in order to finish that movie. You see it with plays. You see it. I just use some stuff that we see in other avenues or other industries or whatever. It's still art making. You see it. I mean, now they got GoFundMe and stuff like that. You know, they got the GoFundMe for the comic books and stuff like that now. But at that time, I hadn't come across none of that stuff. But I said, man, this is a good way to go for me to be able to finish this project. I didn't have 12 grand just laying up for me to be able to complete this project or to become an author or to publish or to print and all that stuff. I was able to use my brain in order to do something different, in order to raise the capital that I needed for my project. This is why I tell people it's not always true that you got to have money to make money. We tend to believe that, but that's not always true. What's true is you need to be able to create money. You need to be able to get money some way. And you and I, we all have the power to get wealth. It's just a matter of, are we using the power? What's another word for power? Ability. Are we using our ability? What's another word for ability? Creativity. We all got the creativity, but we'd be able to do it. I just use my creativity to raise capital to finance my mission. And that's what same thing I try to teach people all the time. Did I do a Kickstarter campaign? No, I did not. That's something that you could do, though, I guess. Kickstarter campaigns, they use that nowadays. I did not. This was all done through my enterprise. So I'm just fortunate enough to have a sales background that I know how to. That's what I'm talking about, Courtney. That is what I'm talking about. I'm just fortunate to use my skills and abilities. I'm a master salesman, and I'm a master marketer. So I use what I know and what I understand to capture the attention of people. And I keep telling people, once you capture the attention of people, if you're able to capture the attention of people, then you can actually capture their money. That's what has happened with TV. That's what has happened with propaganda. They've captured your eyes, which is why I don't watch TV. But they capture your eyes, and then your eyes start to go down into your wallet. And then you start to give up that money, right? You wasn't hungry before you watched the TV. Then you watched the TV, they put a commercial on, then you got hungry, then you said, well, let me go buy some McDonald's. You weren't thinking about McDonald's till you saw the commercial. So this is the stuff, they understand the psychology of people better than anybody when it comes to this thing called television, which I don't watch, because it makes me do things I wouldn't ordinarily do on my own. But yeah, I just capture the people's attention and you can capture their money. This is what, think about it. I'm not talking about anything that's new. But if you just look on Instagram, right? Instagram, who gets all of the followers? All of the models who are capturing the eyes of people with their body. They just show a picture. All they got is pictures all day long of them and different stuff. And they got 4.3 million followers. They're just capturing the attention, capturing the eyes of people. And then eventually they'll be able to capture their money. And so this concept is nothing new. I was just able to use the capturing through the cover of a book, the capturing through the offer, the capturing of, man, don't you want to know about Black billionaires? And I was able to sell these copies before I actually wrote the book. Brainwashing is another word for propaganda on television. Absolutely. And so let me see here. So I didn't use a Kickstarter campaign, but I did have a lead capture. You know, I had all that stuff. Not lead capture. What am I thinking about? A drip campaign. That's what it's called, a drip campaign. Courtney Gore said, man, when I wasn't wealthy, I was rich in ambition. Man, that is, girl, you know, that's such a powerful statement. That's such a powerful statement. That's what the ambition that someone has to accomplish whatever. And I'm gonna say accomplish great things. It drives the spirit of creativity. See, when you don't want to do nothing, right? When you just want to lay in the bed all day, you don't really want to do nothing, then your creative juices really are not flowing. How many guys, really get creative while you're laying in the bed, while you're doing nothing? Now, I'm not saying you don't dream. I'm just talking about these creative juices that flow. For me, it flows when I'm moving. When I'm moving, when I'm going, when I'm shaking and baking. Then my creativity starts flowing. I come up with all new types of ways to solve the problems that are in my life, solve the issues, bring some solutions to them. I don't do that very often when I'm just laying on the couch watching TV, listening to the radio, right? But the ambition drives or fuels the spirit of my creativity. And using my creativity, I've used creativity more than anything else to build wealth. Now, it was driven by something, but I'm simply saying I've used my creativity more than anything else to build wealth. And I want you guys to understand there's way more money in what you know than in what you do. I mean, how many hours? Think about it. How many hours would I have to have worked on the job to get $12,000? For most people, that's half a year. That's 6 months for most people. But I was able to do that in a month using my creativity, my ingenuity, right? Putting together something that would make sense in order for me to accomplish and finance the mission that I have. How many guys got right now, you got missions? You're like, man, this is something I want to do, but I just don't have the money. That's a big thing for many people. I don't have the money. And I want to tell you today, no, it's not that you don't have the money. You don't have an income problem. What you have is an idea problem. And until you fix the idea problem, you will never fix the income problem. It won't happen. Until you fix the idea problem, you'll never fix the income problem. Because the income is generated from ideas that people actually activate and use and create something out of nothing. That's where income comes from. Until you fix the idea problem, you'll never fix the income problem. Some of you guys are wishing for it to just drop out of the sky. You're wishing for the genie in the lamp to bring you riches and glory. It don't work like that, right? So today, I just want to talk briefly to you and just share with you just a little nugget. Now, of course, you get more of this in the Black Billionaires Club, which you can choose to join. You can have more conversations like this, more teaching on how to profit, more teaching on how to use what God has given you, your creativity, your ambition, your drive, in order to build wealth for yourself. But see, well, here's what I know. Most people simply won't invest in themselves. They're waiting on somebody to give them something for free. And I'm just not going to do that. I've given this to you for free. Maybe you're an author. Maybe you're going to write a book. Maybe you're thinking about doing that. Maybe this has helped you today. And to be able to see, man, a brother just sold 600 copies before he wrote a book. So he raised $12,000 of it, use his own efforts. No Amazon, no Barnes and Nobles, no eBay, right? Just using these free platforms to finance his own mission. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. What if all of these nonprofit organizations learn how to finance their own mission? What if you learned how to finance your own mission? So you got some great ideas. You got things that you want to do, but one of the biggest things you keep complaining about is not having the money. Well, what if you learn how to create wealth for yourself? Well, one of the ways I'm going to tell you that is that you probably don't need to be trying to do it by yourself. You do it together. That's why we created the Black Billionaires Club. And you can join that club for $20 a month by simply going to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. You want to have more conversations like this? You want to walk away from the crowd of broke? You want to move away from the people that complain but don't deliver? You want to start hanging out with people that bring solutions to the problems. You want to hang out with people who are going to hold you accountable to your very own success? Join the Black Billionaires Club today. This is a little piece so you can see what you're missing. I like to do this from every now and then. It's called marketing. You got to let people know that don't know what they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. But hopefully today you do know. So this is Teach Me How to Profit. Everybody put in the console, Teach Me How to Profit. This is just to Teach Me How to Profit. We do this on Tuesdays, typically every Tuesday night. Matter of fact, our next Teach Me How to Profit class is going to be this Tuesday coming up. And it's going to be the class on how to create your own e-commerce store. Again, if you got something to sell and you're not selling it online, you do know it's 2018, almost 19 right now. We're in a digital age and you are still in the Stone Age. Why? Because maybe no one's taught you how to actually create this thing in order for you to sell your stuff all over the world for little to no cost. I'm telling you, this is where we know it too. We see what's going on with retail. We see what's happening. We see what the trends that are taking place. Well, you want to be a part of the evolution of this world, right? Instead of the extinction of this world. Don't be the person that's still trying to, use that beeper or use that rotary phone. Don't be that person. Be that person that says, you know what? I'm going to get with the change. I'm going to change with the times. I'm going to evolve with the times. I'm going to pay attention to what's happening, and I'm going to put myself in position to profit from the changes that are taking place. That's exactly what we do. Anyway, you can go to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com if you want to join the club today. That's a $20 decision, $20 to change your life forever, $20 to say bye-bye to broke and get with people that'll help you achieve your very own success. And also you can join the class as well coming up this Tuesday if you want to learn how to build your e-commerce store. I'm going to show you how to do that, show you how to build it. I'm going to show you how to manage it. I'm going to show you how to market it as well for less than $100. And then you'll be able to know what you can do, the extent of your reach. You'll be able to look at stats. You'll be able to see what's happening. You'll be able to utilize all these social media platforms that we have in order to build wealth for yourself. I think Steve had a question over here saying, how can I develop my creativity? Because I feel like I have lost it. Even though I have an accounting background from college, I was good at drawing and playing music in high school. Well, you know what, Steve? I would say to develop your creativity, go back to what you really love to do. If you was good at drawing and playing music, do you still draw and play music? That may be the space that brings the creativity out of you. And I don't know when you say playing music, if you created music, I'm pretty sure that's creative. Drawing causes some type of creativity as well. Go back to what you used to do before money was involved. See, in high school, I don't think that money was involved, right? You got an accounting background, now you're good with money, right? But you're good with money, but you've lost some creativity because now money has clouded. This thing called responsibility has taken over for our creativity. Well, go back and start doing some of the stuff that you used to do, some of the stuff that you used to love, right? If you used to love drawing, start drawing again. That's creative. You got to create something. If you used to love playing music, start playing some music again. Get your little recorder, a harmonica, whatever it is. Start doing the things that you used to love to do before money was involved. That'll bring you back. See, I love reading. That's what that helps ring from creativity. I like this as well. I like talking to my people as well. I like orating and things like that. These are things I'm doing that don't have money is not involved in this. How many guys know like it seems like money has caused us to go away from what we're passionate about. And all for the sake of us doing what's necessary, doing what we have to do to feed our family. It's like, hey, I don't have fun doing this. I don't enjoy doing it. I'm doing what I got to do. I got kids at stake and all this stuff. I got to put them through school. But man, how many guys take time to do stuff that you love to do that have nothing to do with money? When you get your creativity back, that would be my advice. Start doing stuff that you used to love to do that have nothing to do with money. Well, guys, I'm ERGJ, man, certified financial educator. This has been Teach Me How to Profit, just a little segment of what we do in the Black Billionaires Club. You got an opportunity to join that as well. At this time, man, as I always share from my $1 billion mentor, he simply says this, that price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Right now, I want to think about the price you paid to be here. The cost, right? And it didn't cost you any money. It didn't cost you a dime. It cost you something way more valuable than that. That's your time. The times you spent here, the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes to be here, is the cost or the price that you pay. As you think about your time now, I want you to think about the value that you receive. My question to you is, was this worth your time? And why? Did you learn something today? Did you take something away from this little episode of the New Black Wall Street? And if you did, go ahead and drop in the comments below what you learned today. What was the value that you received? What's a little nugget of wisdom, something new that sparked you, got you back into a mode, got you thinking different? Because again, to be different, you got to think different. You want to fix your money, you got to fix your mind. You want to fix your life, you got to fix your mind. What did you learn today? And was it worth your time? Now, as you guys are typing, I know that I talk faster than you type, so I'll give you time to share your feedback from this broadcast this morning. Teach me how to profit. And I'm just simply just sharing with you guys that it doesn't always take money to make money. But what it does take is the ability to create it, which is what all of us have the ability to do. We've been given the power to create wealth. Well, you can pick up the book that I've written. It's been out for almost a year now. The Black Billionaires Club, the study of Black wealth. We'll be going through this book starting on Monday for the New Black Wall Street Book Club. You can go to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, pick up the book today. You can also join the Black Billionaires Club. While you're there, click on Join the BBC. If you want to join along with us, about 100 members now who are working together to build, to grow, to succeed, well, you can do that as well. And then also on Tuesday, we have a class coming up to teach you about e-commerce, how to build your site and also manage your site and market your site so you can draw people to buy from you. We can do that. All these different opportunities available to you today from the New Black Wall Street. Well, guys, I want to say thank you so much. Vivian said you have to become rich in creativity and ambition to create wealth. I want you guys to remember this, man, that it takes a village and it starts with us. It starts with the man or woman looking in the mirror and deciding that they're going to be the change they want to see. Let's build, people. Let's build these books. Let's build these businesses. Let's build these bank accounts. Let's build our community. Most importantly, let's build each other, and let's do it together. We all we got. But guess what? That's enough. Man, I pray to God to preserve each and every one of you that this weekend you'll go out, you'll set your goals, and you will crush your goals. You'll be with me on Monday for the New Black Wall Street Book Club as we go through the Black Billionaires Club. Marquise says she tuned in late, but my takeaway is to stay current with technology and be creative. AV said a message was redelivered on the next step. I need to take it. It is important to remain around prosperous people because we can forget certain steps. Absolutely. Woo, I'm telling you, y'all thank you. I'm glad you said that, AV. To remain, that's the word, remain. To remain around people who can help you to succeed. See, what I found, what I found is that many of us are sometimes, when I get into a rut or when I feel I've fallen off, then I'll jump back in and I'll participate and I'll get with the crew that helped me to get to where I am. And then as soon as I feel comfortable, I will drift back into this place and then I'll jump back again and be a sometime person. But to remain, whole different level of success when you can remain in a place that you know is helping you to get where you want to go. Hey guys, I'm ERGJ, man. That's our time. Y'all know what time it is. Until next time, DJ, hit the music.
The New Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We will see you.